Hey, welcome back to Wargroove. We're here at the Epilogue of the Wargroove base campaign. But before we get into it, this is a mission that you have to unlock first. It requires you having 100 stars. If you've been following this guide so far, you should have around 96 or so. So I recommend doing one of the other extra modes such as arcade or puzzle mode. I personally would recommend doing the puzzle mode considering they're short and they each give 1 star each for completing them. So with that being said, let's get into it. We're going to the enemy within.
My queen!
So, the general thing in this mission is, this is the same map that you had in the prologue, where you were Sigrid, you started here, and then you had to go all the way here and assassinate King Mercival. Okay, but here it's actually a full-fledged map instead of a tutorial. What we're supposed to do is we're supposed to attack Dark Mercia a few times until she teleports to the throne room. We attack her a few more times from here, she'll teleport to the study, and then that's where you defeat her finally. The thing to note about Dark Mercia is, just like Elodie in the previous mission, she's actually going to be a buffed commander, so she's a lot stronger than your commander, and she'll do a lot more damage and take a lot less damage. Okay, another thing to note is this level has several triggers. First off is the triggers concerning the outside gates here. These outside gates will only open when we defeat Dark Mercia for the first time. There's going to be a second layer of gates around, in these areas that lead to the throne room, and they will only be open once we get rid of all the forces that are currently on the outside. And then these gates here will activate once we defeat Dark Mercia for the second time. So we're going to have a little bit of a, basically have a little bit of a we have to hunt everything down phase in the middle of this level here. So the main thing that I can tell you is we need to take it slow in order to make sure we don't rack up casualties. The S rank requirement is actually fairly lenient, with it being around 40 days, exactly 40 days. So to start, we're going to send this archer here to try and block the flow of traffic from this area. We're also going to send a dog in order to possibly help if it's starting to be overwhelmed. So hopefully the enemy sends their spearmen forward here, as well as this dog here, because we really need to get rid of as many units as possible, because as you can see we have a lot of stuff to wade through. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to send our golem to the north along with our knights and Mercia herself. The spearmen can just continue to walk forward. They're going to make their way to the center of the map along with our archers. Our mages are going to come to the north, because we're effectively going to be using these as a screening force to try and hopefully pick off a few of the enemy spearmen. I'll even send this knight here. You also want to be a bit careful, because you don't want to overextend. You want to try and keep your guys relatively close together so they can aid each other, depending on what front they're fighting on. So now the enemy has taken their turn, we can take our next turn. What we're going to do is we're going to send Mercia up into these forests, so hopefully she can begin to attack the dogs. We're going to send the golem forward. The knights are going to stay behind. Reason being is we want to effectively not scare the enemy too much, because if we just go full forward with the knights, the enemy will be generally too scared and they'll stay defensive. So we're going to use the archers to quickly strike this spearman. So that's -1 problem that we have to deal with. He's most likely just going to run away. And the dog is going to come in, and we should be able to do the same thing next turn. So make sure we keep our archers out of range of the enemy swordsmen and spearmen, or the swordsmen and archers. The spearmen can come forward. And the mages are going to follow closely behind Mercia and the knights. The dog can stand that mountain. And with that, we're going to end turn. So the mage goes in for an attack on Mercia.
I won't hold back.
And gets dealt with. So another thing to note is, just like every other level that we've played that have been, or every other large map that we've played on, the enemies' behaviors can actually vary quite drastically. Certain attempts, the enemy will. Yeah, in certain attempts, the enemy will effectively continuously hide and cower, while other ones they'll charge directly towards you. The best example being this trebuchet here. It can have so many different AIs and what it chooses to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the golem here. We're going to put Mercia on the road here. So hopefully she absorbs multiple attacks. Yeah, from the archer, as well as from one of the swordsmen. And then hopefully the enemy trebuchet will be aggressive enough to continuously come at us. We want to get rid of this. We want to get rid of this guy with our knight here. Okay, so now the mage is down. We're effectively just gonna try and dance out of range of the enemy. Yeah, the enemy archers. We're gonna keep our mobile force together. Yes, the guys on this side are mostly covered. Mostly being the key word. You can still find some. You can still find some like ways to break through. For example, we're gonna do this. We're gonna simply use a critical, the archer's critical strike here. So now the dogs are dealt with. We're gonna move the wagon here, and we're gonna put the dog here. So now we effectively have a shield against the swordsman. So if it comes in for an attack on us, we can critically strike him too. So we're going to come here. And the archer can come here now in the mountains. The spearmen are going to form up. And now we're going to end our turn. Actually, I guess we'll move the dog slightly forward and then we'll end our turn. So the swordsman is going to come in for the attack on Mercia. That's fine. She's going to counterattack and hopefully get her charge up. The archers come in. So they've effectively put themselves in range of our knights, so we should be able to counterattack that. Okay. The swordsman comes in for the attack on the wagon, as expected, so now they're going to be also in range of our archers. We need to be careful of that knight, though. We want to make sure that our own archer isn't going to be in range of his critical strike, So we need to just pull back with the dog and the wagon. In fact, we'll send the wagon to the north. So we're going to send the wagon to the north so it can eventually heal Mercia. As for these archers, we're going to use this one's critical strike. Okay, so they were dealt with pretty easily. This one is going to come here. And basically just going to like form up and create like a archer wall with the spears behind it. Okay. So as for here, we're going to push slightly. Actually, no, we're going to leave Mercia here.
I won't hold back.
Okay, so Mercia should have her groove ready. Yes. And we're going to finish off these guys with the knight. And that's going to open up our second knight to go in for a critical strike on one of those swordsmen. So again, as you can see, like we're inflicting heavy casualties on them, but we still have barely even made a dent in their larger army. We're going to make sure we keep the mages close behind, but not too close where they get, as they start receiving some of the fire. We're going to put the dogs there. and we're just going to leave the golem in its place. Because the golem is effectively what we want to try and use to take out the trebuchet once we get the opportunity. So the archer decides to go in for an attack on Mercia. Notice the enemy is now having to redirect a lot of their guys to the north. So we effectively have to think, you have to take your time and actually plan out how you're going to break through, because it's going to be very dangerous. So I believe what we can do is we can come forward here. And we can critically strike this mage, or this archer, with our mage from the mountains. Okay, so now that they've been dealt with, we can go in with probably the dogs. Now we're going to use Mercia to attack first, and then we're going to use this dog to... Actually... Now I think about it, we might not be able to actually fully break through. I think there's just too many spearmen in this area, and there's not enough actual room for us to go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna send the golem just to attack, because we can't really much else. So we're gonna strike here. So now that we punched the hole through there, we're gonna send in our knights for a critical strike. So the spearmen have been mostly dealt with. So we're gonna send in the dogs. They can get their attack in. And we're gonna move Mercia forward slightly so she's in range of the trebuchet, but not in range to be critically struck by it.
I'm here to help. Healing aura.
So Mercia should be taking the damage from the trebuchet, and that's these other guys are too weak to actually finish off whatever the trebuchet attacks. We're gonna begin slightly moving. We're gonna begin slightly moving and shifting these archers northward, because we want to try and get them along this castle wall here as like a choke point. We're also gonna begin shifting the spearmen to the side as well. We're gonna pull back with the knights. So around here I think will be the best option. So that way we can still threaten a lot of their stuff as they come in. We're gonna form up our spears around this northern mountain area. The second mage can partially come in. I guess we'll put them in the reserve position with the knights on the side. You gotta just drop off the dog here, and then that's gonna be it. So the trebuchet does indeed go for an attack on Mercia. That was to be expected, but it didn't do that much damage. So the forces in the north are pretty much done with now. In fact, we can pull this knight that we had over here to quickly strike. Alright, now those trebuchets have been dealt with. We're going to use our weaker and lower tier units, the dogs, to actually hunt down and finish off the rest of the stragglers up here. Considering that even though they're going to be at low health, they're going to still count towards unlocking the door in the middle of the mission. Mercy is going to come here. Yeah, Mercy is going to come here. and she's going to effectively try and block and take as many attacks as possible, get her healing aura faster. We're gonna move this mage slightly to the side. Again, they're basically just going to be our reserve force, as well as they're going to be healers in case Mercia gets too low. We're going to bring up the other knight. We're going to move some of these spearmen to the side. We're actually going to move like this. We're going to put this archer here, and this archer's going to go in the mountain. So we're just slowly shuffling them this way. This spearman can come closer, and with that we're just going to end our turn. So the enemy decides to go for it with their own knights. They're going to attack Mercia. It wasn't a critical strike, thankfully. So now we should be able to destroy them with either our spearmen or our archers. So Dark Mercia herself is getting closer to the fray because she's losing a lot of units. So I suppose what we should do first is we're actually going to strike with the spearmen in the forest first. Okay, so now that frees up our archers to focus on other things. Like, firstly, we're going to move our golem here, and we're going to strike. We're going to move our golem here, and we're going to strike. Yeah, these spearmen here. That'll finish them off, and then we can use our knight to attack the mages and finish those guys off. So again, this mission is more so about strategically picking the enemy off piece by piece to deal with their large numbers. In fact, we can even send Mercia herself here to hopefully absorb an attack. Again, the more time we can effectively buy for her to get her healing aura, the better. This dog here is going to be attacked by our archer. We're actually going to keep this archer in the mountains for now. Instead, we're just going to use them to critically strike. And the next archer is going to come in and finish them off. We're just going to use the wagon to transport the archer we left in the mountain. Okay, so now that spearman is done, we're going to put wagon here. We're going to move forward with the spearman slightly. We gotta bring up our mages. And we gotta bring our knight from this northern area here, as well as the dogs. Okay. So Dark Mercia's turn once again. The archer decides to quickly strike the golem. That's actually going to be fine. I mean, the critical strikes can be a bit dangerous if you're in the middle of constant combat. But other than that, we can easily heal that off. Okay, so another thing to note about Dark Mercia herself. She will actually... We don't actually have to do tons of damage to her. We just need to attack her just a few times. It kind of doesn't matter the strength of the attacks, but once we attack her a few times with some weaker stuff, she'll actually teleport away and open the doors for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to come forward with the knights. They're gonna strike him. These guys. Mercy is actually going to come forward and finish off this dog so she can get her healing aura
Brace
faster.
yourself.
These golems are going to come in and they're going to strike and get rid of these swordsmen. Unfortunately, they're going to be attacked by Dark Mercia herself, but it's going to be a double-edged sword for Dark Mercia because she's going to take some damage in return, and that's going to make it even easier for us to just attack her with our archers and send her to her second phase. As for this swordsman here, we're hopefully going to try and... we're actually going to try and bait them out by putting our mage in this... on this bridge here. So if the swordsman decides to go in for an attack on the on the mage, we can just finish them off with one of our lesser units. We're gonna send the dogs forward. Spearman can follow closely behind. So the swordsman decides to go in for an attack on Mercia instead. That's an interesting move. But she's going to heal most of that up already. Interesting. Dark Mercia decided not to go in for the attack on the golem. We're just gonna go in and we're gonna attack her anyway with our archers, and she should retreat. So we want to try and hit her with all of our archers at once, because archers don't do that much damage to commanders anyway. And for now, we want to try and save our heavy units to actually get into the fray quicker. Yeah, we can actually get a first strike if we time this correctly as well. Fortunately, I think we can only really do it with, like, we move Mercia to the side here. She can deploy a healing aura on this position.
I'll save you all. Healing aura!
Okay, so this should be the final attack that sends Dark Mercia away. Actually, no. So usually it takes around 2 or 3 attacks, but I suppose because the actual quality of the attacks weren't as high, and she didn't take damage from attacking a golem, we're just going to do this instead. We're just going to come forward and we're going to strike with the knights, and this should force her away. Again, as you can see, her being a much stronger commander, yeah, she's going to still take survive and do a lot of damage. Okay, so what we're going to do is, considering how the situation has developed, we're going to just come forward with the mage. We're going to strike, and we're going to critically injure, get rid of the swordsman entirely, while the golem comes in for their... Actually, I don't really want to do this, but I suppose we should. Because, as you can see, there's a lot more enemies that are inside that you have to deal with. And so you want to try and get rid of as many forces as possible. It's just unfortunate because I think our archer is going to receive an attack from the mage here. But that's going to be fine, considering we can just critically strike with the other archers, and then give the Mercia's healing aura can bring them back up to full strength. Yeah, we're just gonna send everyone else forward, and we're pretty much just gonna prepare for a long battle in this center area here. Yes, unfortunately the mages are gonna strike and almost wipe out the archers, but we're just gonna pull them back and have them recover. The golem is gonna be targeted by the archers, but hopefully we can turn around and then attack them again. Yeah, again, speed is of the essence in this part because... Yeah, speed is of the essence of this part because the enemy is just going to begin piling towards you, and if they come towards you with the sheer amounts of numbers they have, as well as the unit types that they have, they're effectively just going to overwhelm you. We're going to use this archer's critical strike to hopefully get rid of the mage. Just shy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull this guy back, and hopefully he can finish the job. Alright, so with that guy being dealt with, we're gonna move forward here, and we're gonna strike this archer. Again, archers are probably some of the most crucial units that you can try and strike. But I think our golem after that is gonna have to require some healing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna send Mercia in. We want her to absorb some attacks, so that way we can hopefully throw down a Mage heal. And in fact, we'll do this, so that way Mercia isn't taking a dog crit. This knight can come here. So hopefully we can, hopefully next turn Mercia gets attacked, and then we can send in some mages to heal off some of the damage and make it more economical. We'll send this one spearman here, and then we'll keep moving everyone else forward. Okay, so with that we're going to end our turn. Well, actually, we're going to move the wagon here because we actually have a plan for the wagon later. Okay, so the dogs are going to come in for the attack on Mercia. She's going to counterattack. And they're not going to be able to do their critical strike, so Mercia is going to be in better condition. One of our knights gets picked off by a spearman, but they return and finish him off. Okay, so the enemy knight is coming in. So we're most likely going to have to pull back unless we can break through and get rid of that archer there. That's going to depend. So they decide to move a swordsman into place and spearman on his flanks. Yeah, I believe we're going to have to pull back. So we're going to pull this spearman back. We're going to we want them to come as far forward to us as possible, so we're gonna begin trying to retreat everyone now, including the golem. Gotta move this mage to the side. Gonna get rid of this weakened dog and put him on. Gonna put this archer in this position to help cover Mercia. Now it's gonna come here. We're actually gonna begin healing next turn instead of this turn. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna leave that one archer there. We're gonna pull these knights back. Mercia's gonna take the hit, and then hopefully we can break through using the rest of our forces later. This dog can come here. We gotta put the spears here. The archer can come forward slightly. And now we're just gonna end turn. Okay, so the mages are gonna come in. That's actually very good considering the mages usually like to hang around the back and then provide heals. Dark Mercia has a lot of money, so she can afford to do that as well. And the archers come in for the attack, and they're going to be annoying. Yeah, as you can see, the enemy is really starting to levy their numbers against us. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to begin using our heals. And we want to try and get Mercia to hopefully get her charge quicker. We don't want to put the mages in a position that will compromise them with their heals either. So we're going to do it something like this. We're going to move this spearman away. Wait. These mages are going to come here. They're going to provide heals to Mercia, the golem, and the knight. We're going to move this dog back. We're going to put this knight here. And that was a misclick, but that's gonna be ultimately fine considering we're just gonna. Mercia has enough health to survive another. Enough health to survive another beating from them. Alright, we're gonna move this one away. So this one here. This one actually has a. Yeah, this one's gonna probably kill. It does not. So it's actually perfect that it didn't kill instead, because actually I'm a bit nervous about this archer, so we're gonna pull him back. We're gonna strike here.
I won't hold back!
Okay, so now Mercia should be very close to having her healing. In fact, she does have it. Okay. We're gonna use these. And we're gonna use these archers to quickly strike the swordsman. And the spearmen. We're gonna send the golem in to fight the spearmen. And effectively, whatever they try and throw to counterattack the golem or Mercia, most of its damage is going to be healed off and effectively made null. We're gonna send one spearman here, and we're gonna just end the rest of our turn. So the knight's going for the attack on Mercia. They're gonna do some damage, but ultimately she'll be fine. These archers do a critical strike. And the second group of archers should also come in. Okay, Mercia getting a little low, but ultimately we planned that out. See, as you know, the mages really annoying because they're effectively undoing a lot of the progress that we're trying to make by healing them. So we're going to effectively begin trying to deal with them and pick them off as best we can. So we're gonna move Mercia to the side here and try and do a healing aura, so that way we can get everything back up to full strength. The question is, what should we do with our golem? Because the golem actually has the opportunity to strike many valuable targets. I believe the targets that we should be trying to strike with our golem is, we would definitely want to try and hit as many of these archers as possible. These archers can be struck by our archers, while this one can be dealt with by the golem. So I believe that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull Mercia back. Actually, we're going to send the attack with the archers first against them. Yeah, this critical strike should weaken them severely. See, can this archer kill? Not quite. Can this archer kill the spearman? Not quite as well. We are going to use these archers to create a breakthrough here. Because we're going to use these archers to create a breakthrough here. Then we're going to heal the golem and we're going to send him off to fight. And we're going to send these archers forward. They can just throw an attack towards... They can just throw an attack towards these archers here and make them truly worthless. Mercia's healing aura is going to come in. Well, after we move this knight closer.
None shall fall while I still stand! Healing aura!
Okay. So with most of our guys back up to full strength, we're going to come in and we're going to strike this archer here. We're gonna move this mage closer. We're gonna try and set up the knights in order to actually go in once we can deal with all the spear threats. And with that, we're just going to end our turn. So the knight goes in for another attack on Mercia. It's going to be fine. She can handle it. Another group of archers comes in to attack Mercia, but they've put themselves right close to our golem. The low health archer attacks the golem. That group also attacks the golem. Yeah, so again, you see the enemy has a lot of archers, and if you don't begin to deal with them immediately, you're just going to be overwhelmed. So we're going to use these archers to quickly strike the mages. Unfortunately, it won't be a kill, but it's going to be close. We're actually going to use a mage to heal. This. Well, I'm going to move the golem here. Actually, no, because we risk the golem getting too far away from the main group of healing. So we're gonna keep him in place. This golem is gonna stay in place, and he's gonna finish off these archers. So it should be slowly but steadily getting easier for us. Okay. Meanwhile, everyone here is gonna receive a heal. The spears are going to be quickly struck by these archers. These knights are going to be quickly struck by our other archers. And then Mercia should go in and she should be able to finish the job.
I won't hold back!
Okay, we're going to move these spearmen to the side, and we're going to, again, slowly prepare our night charge. Because if we can time it correctly, we can go in before these other spears can get in to stop us, and we can start wreaking havoc. So with that, we're going to end our turn. Mage is going for another attack on Mercia. Mercia will counterattack. Again, it's very good that these mages are deciding to attack us instead of simply just healing, because healing makes this process take a lot longer. So the mage finishes itself fighting the golem, again, thankfully instead of healing. So again, at this point of the mission, it's become more so a slog. The enemy just has too much stuff for you to comfortably be able to do much of anything, really. Okay, so now we're gonna try and see if we can. Yeah, we're gonna try and see if we can make a breakthrough here. We want to move through with this golem. Try and finish off this guy. Alright, the golem has wiped out all the archers. Alright, we're going to use these archers to quickly break through here. These archers can quickly strike the dogs. And these archers can finish off these swordsmen. Okay, so we're out of range of the knights, so what we're going to do is we're just going to... Unfortunately, we couldn't get the actual knight charge because of how it positioned itself, but just a normal knight attack will do. In fact, we can probably even send Mercia in as well to finish them off. Yeah, the spear's out of position, so what we're going to do is we're going to send these knights in. Mercia's going to go in now.
Brace yourself.
Okay, she is going to take some counterattack damage though, from at least 3 different areas. So what we're going to do is we're going to move in with our dog. We're going to move in with our dog to try and block one avenue of attack. Partially. And then this mage is going to come in and give Mercia a heal, so that way she can be a little bit more flexible after she gets her healing aura. Now we're going to set up our next mage to go in, as well as the spears and the dog. Now we're actually going to be setting up something with our wagon. We're going to set it up here, because once we finish getting rid of these final remaining units here, the gates are going to open to the north. After the enemy takes their turn, I'll show you. So dog's going for the attack on Mercia. She's going to counterattack and deal lots of damage back. The swordsman is going to come in for the attack on the side, which is good. He's going to finish them off as well. The very low health archer is going to try and just pick at us, but that's going to be fine. So now their spearmen are starting to funnel in, but they're far too late. In fact, these archers can come in. They can help us create the conditions for a breakthrough. So we're going to move these dogs to the side. They can finish off these weakened spearmen. We want to try and get the golem in our healing. So we're going to move forward with the mages first. The knights can stop and finish off these guys. The golem is going to come closer. Mercy is actually going to put herself in the... she's going to put herself in the choke point and heal.
None shall fall while I still stand. Healing aura.
These knights can come in and finish off these swordsmen. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. So once we finish off these remaining forces in this hallway, so the weakened archer, the 2 swordsmen, and the 2 spearmen, these gates are going to open, as well as the gates leading to the throne room. So the enemy is most likely going to come down, and they're going to be focused on trying to attack the wagon. The wagon has effectively served its purpose for us, considering it can't travel on flagstone. So it's basically going to be stuck outside for the remainder of the mission. So what we're going to do is we're going to use it to basically lure away these forces here, so that way we don't have to fight them in the main hallway, at least for a little bit. These spearmen can begin funneling upward. We're going to send our next mage through. We're going to move our archer through. These spearmen are going to line themselves up along the outside of the wall and get ready to go in. And with that, we're going to end turn. Again, thankfully we weakened that archer to the point where it effectively can't really do much. So Mercia mostly finishes off those guys. We have tons of spearmen to deal with still. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this dog to the side. We're going to push him to the side. So we're going to move forward and we're going to try and create breakthrough. We're going to just come in. These guys are going to be struck. Meanwhile, these guys are going to come in. They're going to strike these spearmen. I believe we can wipe this force out this turn. Yeah, we'll move like this. We use these mages to finish off the spearmen. So they've been dealt with. These archers are going to come in and they're going to get rid of these low health archers that have been bugging us for a while. The golem is going to come in for the attack on the spearmen. Mercy is going to finish off these guys.
I won't hold back!
She should have her healing aura soon. And these knights are just going to come in and they're going to come close to wiping out these guys. Fortunately, we weren't able to wipe them out this turn, but we got pretty close. I mean, who knows? They might even, destroy themselves on like a counterattack. So we're gonna send our spearmen in as well as our dog, and we're gonna begin trying to move north because we want to try and be in this hallway so that way we can have more angles to actually enter the throne room and fight Dark Mercia, but also so we can continue following the route and make it to Mercival's study once we finish her off. The swordsman does indeed decide to go in for a attack and be destroyed for us, so I thank them for doing that. The golem will finish them off, and now the doors should open. Okay, so we need to be very cautious on how we actually approach this next situation. So first thing we should do is, I believe we could put Mercia in this choke point here, and we need to begin setting up our archers so that way they can actually help us. They can actually help us fight through most of this. We're gonna put the golem here. The mages can be put on the outer flanks. The archers are gonna begin moving into position. The spearmen are gonna be very slow, but we're gonna continuously, steadily move them towards the main fighting. Dog is gonna go in. I'm gonna leave that other knight in position, and so is the wagon. So with that, we're gonna in turn. Alright, the dog's coming for the attack on Mercia. She's gonna counter. The archers come in and they decide to strike the golem. An interesting choice, but it's a good choice that's gonna cost them. Okay, so as you see, that gate on the side open, and it's leaving. Yeah, the knight's gonna come out. So what the knight's gonna do is it's gonna strike. Yeah, it's gonna strike the wagon, but we're gonna use the wagon's superior movement to effectively remove it from harm's way. Mercia is gonna finish off. Yeah, we want to move into the room, but we don't want to try and move into the room in such a way that we're being overwhelmed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just strike. Yeah, we're gonna strike here.
I won't fail.
And we're gonna hold on to her healing aura, so that way we can send the golem in, and they hopefully will finish off this archer. It's gonna be completely fine if they don't, considering we're just gonna move in on the rest of our archers to finish it if they don't. We're going to move this knight into this position, and we're going to begin lining this wall with the archers. So, and if they get counterattacked by her archers, that's going to be healed off by Mercia's healing aura. The main thing we need to make sure we do is not leave them in range of being attacked by the golem. But the golem should go down and fight our golem, so that should be very moot and not very likely. We could spread out our damage, or we could concentrate. We have to remember the enemy has 2 mages. But I believe we should spread out some of the damage, because there's a chance that they might just go in and finish themselves off while fighting Mercia or the golem. The dogs are gonna continue their way through. The spears are gonna slowly make their way through as well. We gotta leave the wagon in place, but we're gonna have to be paying close attention to it after that. We're going to have one knight at the top and one knight to effectively try and cover our forces at the bottom of where we're going. So we're gonna end our turn. The knight decides to attack the wagon as planned. So now we're going to use the wagon to leave. Yeah, we're going to just leave with the wagon and basically draw away the forces that are in that left alcove over there. The golems come in, or the golem comes in to fight our golem. The archer attacked our golem, but the golem is effectively going to be in range of multiple archer crits, so we should be able to finish him. Fortunately, as we see, yet another healing aura comes in. or the healing comes in for them. So we're going to strike with all of the archer's critical strikes. We're gonna pull back with the golem partially, and we're just gonna pull back somewhat, and we're going to hold on to Mercy's healing aura for just a little longer. As for the wagon, we're gonna do exactly as we planned and run them away. Yeah, we're gonna hold on to Mercy's healing aura just a little bit longer. So with that, we're going to end our turn. So the mage decides to go in for the attack on Mercia, as expected.
Brace yourself.
She does some damage to them. The archers decide to go in for the attack on our spearmen. An interesting choice, but it's going to cost them. You get the annoyance of the mages. So the enemy decided to actually not focus on the, wagon. It's a very interesting choice. So we gotta try and move them back slightly to see if they can perhaps get rebaited. If we perhaps rebuff their advance on the side, they'll go for the path of least resistance and come down to south again. And we gotta definitely make sure that we're not actually putting them back in range. Okay. So we have several things we're gonna do. We're gonna firstly, these spearmen can move out the way for their friends. You're gonna move this archer. They're gonna strike. They're gonna strike them here. So they're gonna be very weak. These archers are going to quickly strike the mages, so that way we can stop this healing nonsense that they're doing. These archers are going to quickly strike the golem. We effectively need to evacuate this northern part here. So we're gonna pull the mages. I'm even gonna have to move this guy to the side.
None shall
I wanted to
fall
get,
while I
I was hoping to get the
Healing
weakened
aura!
spearman in there, but unfortunately we do need to keep Mercia in place though. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the dog here, make sure they're not in range of the archers, and we're going to keep the golem here. And we're going to pull this one back slightly. So the only thing that's going to be there is the golem. We're going to move this spearman to the side, going to keep these knights in place, and with that we're going to end our turn. The next mage decides to go in for the heal. That's very nice.
Brace yourself.
Or no, that decides to go in for the attack instead of the heal. That's very good. Okay, so hopefully, they're starting to they're starting to follow the path of least resistance and go toward the wagon again. Okay, so now we can continuously wade through them again. So this critical strike is going to go for the archer. Mercia's gonna finish off these guys, so that's gonna be great for us. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to use this knight to effectively block this gap here so the dogs can't run through. And we're going to, now that they've lost all of their mages, we're going to slowly move our archers forward. So we're going to critically strike here. And we're going to finish off these guys. Yeah, again, we want to constantly be moving our archers toward the north because we have to funnel them through this choke point and try and get them on the outside walls of Mercival Study. The golem is going to come down south again. Perhaps we can give them another heal with the mages. They have the extra funds, and that will certainly help with our breakthrough following turns. So we're gonna move these knights here. This spearman can come here. We gotta funnel them through again after the mages. We'll give the Mercia and the golem another heal, so that way they can stay topped off. And with that, we're gonna end turn. Yeah, so the swordsman coming for the attack on Mercia. Okay, so Dark Mercia herself has joined the fray. She's going to be the recipient of 2 archer critical strikes. Mercia herself is going to finish off, well, yeah, I think instead of 2 archer critical strikes, she should be hit by an archer critical strike, a normal archer strike. And we're going to break through using this archer here. We're going to use the golem. Yeah, we're going to use the golem to attack Dark Mercia. And we're going to cover the golem's southern flank with Mercia herself. She should be close to running away though, if she doesn't run away from this. In fact, she does. So, well, with that, we're going to use Mercia instead of guarding the flank. We're going to use her to try and finish off the golem.
I won't fail.
She's going to take a little bit of damage in return, but that's fine. She's effectively going to be covered by multiple archers now. So we also need to begin making our way towards the north. Yes, all the spears and mages, everyone is effectively going. In fact, we can even not worry about this minor scratch damage we might take from our advance because Mercia has her healing aura and she should be able to get us back up to full strength again. You're going to continuously run away this wagon. Just make sure you don't forget about the wagon. You gotta put them in this intersection here, so that way they can either juke north or east if they need to. We gotta move the dogs. We're gonna keep these. Yeah, we're effectively gonna keep these knights here to effectively guard that hallway to make sure they continue. The guys on the left side continuously take the path of least resistance. So the spearman going for the attack on Mercia. That's gonna be fine. She's gonna finish. The archers are gonna most likely finish them and clear them from Mercia's path. The golem runs away. It's effectively done. Mercia completely finishes off the dogs. That's great. And so we're a bit over halfway through the mission, and we still have around 19 or so turns left. And we're on turn 23, so we have around 17 turns. Those swordsmen weaken themselves. Okay, so now we see they've moved in for the path of least resistance. They're going to come in from the south. But because they're going from the south, they're effectively going to have very little. Yeah, it's going to take very long for them to actually reach us again. So we should be able to form a defensive area. So these archers are going to come in, finish off the spearmen from Mercia. The golem, the spearmen. In fact, this spearman can come forward and finish off these guys. So Mercy's gonna move north, and she's gonna give everyone who needs it a heal. Make sure there's no one else with like minor amounts of damage on them who could use it. Yeah, this knight could use it. So we're gonna get them in range as well.
I'll save you all. Healing aura.
Okay. We're going to have the mages fall in behind the knights. Gonna actually try and the order of importance we want to move all the guys out is we want to try and get the archers, knights, and mages out first, as well as Mercy and the golem. But then we want to try and leave the spearmen for last because they're actually capable of defending our rear guard, our rear. They're basically good rear guards. The wagon is not in danger. Always make sure you check. And with that, we're gonna end turn. The golem runs away. And the forces that are in the north are effectively going to continuously funnel away from us, considering that's the path of least resistance for them. So we're going to make sure we're not advancing too far or too fast. But we want to make sure we have a decent advance. So make sure we get our archers and knights forward. Our mages as well. Mercy is going to go in. The golem is going to be right behind her. We want to try and make sure we get a decent defensive formation with our spearmen, so that way they can cover us. Okay, so I think the wagon is going to be a bit out of danger, so with that we're just going to end our turn. Okay, so it seems like the enemy has refocused their efforts on them. So we're going to begin running them away north once we get the opportunity. Actually, I believe we gotta be running them away south, considering there's a lot more room to run. Well, actually, perhaps not. Perhaps not. Yeah. So, north it is. Yeah, we're effectively gonna be driving. Yeah, we're effectively gonna be having them run away from us, and then we're gonna steadily advance in their place. You get the archers in, as well as all of the mages. We want Mercy and the golem to go in. We line up the spearmen to ensure in their front lines. Okay, so with that, we end turn. Okay, so they're trying to chase us north, but we're just going to juke them and go back south. Okay, so the enemy is trying to solidify. We're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to send Mercia in, as well as the golem. The archers are going to be following close behind. We're going to send the dogs. Begin pulling back with the spearmen partially. Okay, so now we're going to end our turn. The swordsmen going for the attack on Mercia. That's effectively going to serve only to weaken themselves and allow us to break through. The archer's going for the attack on the golem. That is also fine. Okay. So we can actually come in and we can attack with these mages. We're going to attack here. We're going to use the archers to break through. I believe we're going to use a mage heal in order to help us ensure this breakthrough. So we're going to attack with the golem first. The knight's going to break through the spears, hopefully. And then we're going to send in Mercia to fight the knight.
I won't hold back!
Okay, the rest of the archers can follow in. Send the dogs in. Okay, so now we can begin to fully pull in the spearmen to our conclave. The wagon is going to juke them again by running to the east. Swordsman going for the attack. Mercia is going to counter. Yeah, so we're very close to being done with this. Okay. So this golem is going to come forward and they're going to give us a strike on this spearman. So that way they are not going to be as much of a nuisance on our flank. We can easily, hopefully, break through with our archers. So Mercia herself is going to come up here, and we don't want to activate the trigger yet. The trigger for actually fighting Dark Mercia and all of her stuff is when you have one unit enter the room. So we're not going to do that quite yet. We got to try and deal with a lot of the forces on our flank just slightly before we do that. It's not going to take too long, just around like 1 or 2 turns. We're going to fold in the knights. We're going to bring our archers up and make sure they're prepared. Everyone else is going to fall in. The wagon is going to continuously run from these forces that are chasing it. Yes, so now that they're being met with the golem, they've effectively decided to run away. So, we're going to send Mercia into the room. So, now we're also going to set up our archers so that they... Yeah, so that the golem that is most likely going to attack Mercia is going to be whittled down by 3 critical strikes, and if the archers decide to attack our archers, we're going to use our healing aura, and we're going to counter-strike them instead. So effectively we're going to force the enemy into a no-win position. And as for the wagon, nothing is in range, so we're just going to leave it. And now we're going to end our turn. We're not even going to bother chasing these forces on the right side, because effectively the golem is going to be blocking off their advance towards us, and that's all we really need from them. So we're going to end turn. The golem does as expected and decides to go in for the attack on Mercia. And for this final fight, you can effectively use all of your heals. This is the last fight. Most of the archers decided to stay away, except for this one, or some of the archers decided to stay away, one of them didn't. So we're going to punish them for doing that. So these archers are going to quickly strike the archers that just attacked Mercia. That's great. You gotta take some damage, but Mercia's healing aura will get that out for us. Meanwhile, these guys are gonna come in for the critical strike on the golem, and so our other archers are gonna follow up and do the same. This dog can be replaced by the golem now that most of them have run away. You also want to get the golem in the healing aura.
I'll save you all. Healing aura!
In fact, we're going to move this dog here, and we're going to pull in our spears slightly. We're going to check again on the wagon. Clear. Okay, and with that, we're going to end our turn. The archers quickly strike Mercia again. The golem goes in for the attack on Mercia, but we should be able to finish it next turn. The weakened archers also attack Mercia. Effectively, you're going to be doing very little. Okay, so we're going to be preparing for the breakthrough, the big breakthrough. So we're going to use these archers to strike the golem. It's going to be a toss-up whether or not it'll kill. Thankfully it does. These archers are going to quickly strike the dogs. Meanwhile, these archers are going to finish off the enemy archers. We're going to send Mercia forward to finish off the dog. She's going to be the recipient of 2 attacks on her flanks, but she's got to be fine considering it's the final battle now. We can just use whatever heal. The golem is going to finish off the archers, so now we have indirect supremacy of this area. And once we get rid of the spearmen, we can even begin to flood our knights in. So the mage is gonna, well actually we're gonna keep the mage at a distance, sort of. We want them to be just here. I suppose it would have to be, yeah, it would have to be here. I'm okay with that. We're gonna leave the knights in position. We gotta move the dog back forward. These, all the forces down here, they're effectively not going to do anything. The wagon is once again clear and not in danger. And now we're going to end our turn. So let's see what Dark Mercia decides to do. She decides to run to the side, and the swordsmen are going to attack Mercia on the flank. Okay, so they've effectively dealt with themselves for us. So the spearmen or the swordsmen on the side are effectively going to be worthless. So I believe we should begin focusing down Dark Mercia. Well, after we get rid of the spearmen. So we have 1, 2. The archer can come in and finish that. So I believe we're gonna be very good. We're gonna see the safest way we could do this, because effectively we're good on time. We're at turn 33. So I believe the safest way we could do this is, well, first off, giving Mercia another heal. That's what the mages are mostly going to be good for. We're going to move Mercia out of the way, possibly to this position here. We're gonna move Mercia to this position. We're gonna move the golem to the side, and then we're gonna finish it off with Mercia. We don't really want to attack Dark Mercia just yet, considering she's a more powerful commander, and a lot of the lesser damage we do to her is just gonna be immediately removed.
I won't fail.
So now we're just gonna flood our knights into the room. As well as the archers. In fact, this archer can attack Dark Mercia for us. Did very little damage, but any damage is worthwhile, I suppose, if we're not paying for it. Those archers finished off those guys. And those archers will finish off the others. So now Dark Mercia is almost in the room entirely by herself. We're even going to move in, we're going to throw another heal on Mercia. Again, at this point in the fight you can afford to just spam heals. The spearmen can funnel in. The dogs can even funnel into the room. Effectively there's nothing else. We're going to check on the wagon again. They're safe in turn. So the dog decides to come in for the attack on Mercia. And they're going to receive lots of damage. Will Dark Mercia herself attack is the question. She will. That'll make it a lot easier for us.
Witness true strength.
Okay, excellent. And so we should be able to finish this. So, our archer critical strike is going to come in. The next archer strike is going to come in. We can... Yes, so we can effectively move in with these archers. They can strike her. Both mages are going to come in and give Mercia a heal. The golem is going to strike Dark Mercia. And finally, Mercia herself.
This ends now.
And so we did it with 6 turns to spare. So again, you can afford to take your time with this one. So the main things I really have to say for this level is just, again, take your time. The time limit, while it is a long map, and we did get somewhat close, we still had 6 turns, so that I would call that a very good time frame. The main part that's really hard is the beginning part, when you have to fight inside the pretty much the narrow conclave against the tons of archers they have. But effectively, if you just continuously like heal yourself, again, we even had multiple heals, so you can effectively heal spam through that, I suppose, if you really wanted to. You can, as long as you use the golem to go behind the lines, you use Mercia to effectively block some of the choke points. You have your archers continuously picking off the most important targets, that being the enemy archers and the mages. You should be doing pretty good, and also making sure you save Dark Mercia for last in a lot of the encounters, because of her buff as a commander, you don't really want to just charge in towards her even if you can make her disappear, she'll still be doing lots of damage back to you. But that's all I have for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Well, in the Wargroove Double Trouble DLC. So, with that, I'll be going. I'll see you later. Goodbye.